Manchester United 4-1 on the night. Bruno Fernandes with the first hat-trick from a Manchester United midfielder in a European knockout game since the late, great legend Sir Bobby Charlton in 1964 against Borussia Dortmund in the Fairs Cup, which was what eventually became the Europa League and which is now became the UEFA Cup, now is the Europa League. A brilliant performance from Manchester United. A dodgy start. It was a penalty to Sociedad. They took the lead, but the very best overall performance so far under the leadership of Ruben Amorim. It was a solid performance across the board. More on that to come. Tottenham go through tonight with a very good performance. 2 goals from I'm about to say Odebear. Am I saying his name right? Odebear, excellent from him. Also, the Maddison goal was brilliant at the start of the second half. A few scares for Tottenham, but they got the job done. I thought they would overturn this. I didn't think they'd have any major problems with this game. There's a few hairy moments, but that's the way Big Ange and his team play football. That's as simple and as straightforward as that. Chelsea go through as well. That was kind of the game I wasn't focusing on as much tonight. It's very hard to watch 3 English teams intently, especially when your own team is playing. But very poor first half from Chelsea. Really was a poor first half indeed. 0 shots on goal in totality. It took the bringing on Cucurella and Palmer really start turning that round for them. But we want to get your views. We want to get your opinions on tonight's games, your reactions as Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United fans, and of course, rivals as well. And I'll start with Man United and say, I'm sure I haven't even looked at any of the comments yet because I had it on if you use StreamYard, you'll know there's a media asset part, and I was on that. I'm pretty sure rivals will say that Sociedad were robbed. But look, soft penalties are given in UEFA in Europe all the time. UEFA gives soft penalties. It's a simple. The handball rule is crazy compared to the Premier League. The first penalty for Sociedad tonight, well, you want to say we got robbed. The first penalty for them, I think by the letter of the law under UEFA's interpretations, it's a penalty. It's unlucky. They're rarely given in the Premier League. What you hear in the Prem often is, well, the player's gone to kick the ball and the foul has put his leg in the way of a clearance. They're often not given in the Prem. The other 2 penalties, look, on Rasmus Højlund, he's about to pull the trigger. His standing legs gets taken out. If that doesn't happen, he probably scores, in my opinion. So it's a penalty. The Dorgu one, look, the guy tried to do the whole, I didn't move, I stood my ground. But if you look, he jumps into the pathway of Dorgu. And in UEFA, you're going to concede a penalty for that. In a UEFA competition, it's a penalty. The red card, some will say it's harsh. Some will say in the Premier League that shouldn't be given. But one from a much further distance away, you all agreed earlier on this season was a red card for Saliba. I'm going to keep the same energy. I think they're all red cards. And we saw one tonight. The Roma player, Hummels, was sent off for almost the same foul in the exact same position. So yes, were some of the penalties soft? Absolutely. But UEFA gives soft penalties. I didn't see any of you calling out the referees a couple of years back when we played Sociedad and Lisandro Martinez put in a big blocked it with his foot onto his thigh and then onto his arm that was by his chest, and they gave a penalty. None of you cried that day, so I'm going to take your calls of it being a robbery based on you hating Man United and not that you actually think they're terrible decisions. So, look, some will say there was a robbery there. I think all 4 penalties, 2 given to United, 2 given to Sociedad over the course of the tie, I think were all tremendously soft. I don't think any of them, barring Rasmus's, would be given in the EPL, but it is a different competition. It's a simple, and if Man United can see one in the next round, and I say, that's not a pen in the Prem, you'll all go, Terry, it's not the Prem, it's UEFA. So there we go. Aside from that, though, I am going to start with Manchester United. I thought we were brilliant tonight. And I saw Staffy said earlier on today that United in the last 3 or 4 games have started to really show some really positive green shoots of progression. We haven't been able to win all the games, partly due to injuries. We obviously need players, but started to play some really nice football. Things have started to really come together for us. And I thought we were great tonight. And the fact conceded 2 penalties, the fact that they had to concede a red card is because we were pulling them apart. I felt the opening 5 to 10 minutes of the game, Sociedad were the better team. They attacked. They were finding some space. But we adapted really well in-game as players. Okay, well, I'll move a few feet. Casemiro moved a few feet deeper and to the left to cover a hole in space that was being occupied. It didn't take Dorgu long to get to grips with Kubu, and he handled him brilliantly. And I will say, Dorgu tonight, it's still early days for him in a Man United shirt, but it was a fantastic performance from him in every single which way, probably barring his finishing. Other than his finishing tonight, I thought everything else from Dorgu was amazing. Defensively, Maz, brilliant again, playing out of position. De Ligt has been an excellent signing for us so far. Another outstanding night for him. But I really want to isolate and call out Heaven. 18 years old. When we signed him in January, he wasn't even looked at by many people as a first-team signing. It was maybe looked at as a bit of a buy him at 18, sell him at 19 or 20 and flip him type of move. He was announced along with Dorgu as a first-team player. He was registered into the squads. And look, he's made 2 substitution appearances, one against Fulham, one against Arsenal, and look excellent in both. Makes his full debut today over the 90 minutes. And there was a couple of wayward passes, and I'm not going to overly scrutinize an 18-year-old for that. But I thought he looked very competent, calm, talented. There was 2 or 3 excellent tackles in that first half when Real Sociedad were on the attack. And he was excellent. For an 18-year-old making his senior first-team debut at Old Trafford in a really finely balanced, high-pressured, with the world watching European game, I thought the young man stepped up. So I wanted to take some time to praise him. Cass in the middle. It was throwback Casemiro, back to his very best tonight in that regard. I thought Delo got his goal, and I thought overall played so much better than he has done in the fullback role. He looks far more confident tonight. I thought him on the right-hand side with Garnacho. I thought Garnacho played well. I wouldn't say it was an outstanding performance. I thought he had a good game, 6.5, 7 out of 10. He was dangerous. It took a few shots, and they frustrated me because you could see his lack of confidence. He didn't really put any bite into them. Rasmus Højlund, look, he got an assist at the end, so there's a little bit of GA. Really struggling. You could see the confidence, but I've got to praise his work rate, his runs tonight. He wanted to be involved. And I think today will go a long way to improving his form and bringing some confidence back for him. But I've got to really, the main 2 guys, and I'm saving the best to last, really. Joshua Zirkzee, best performance in a Man United shirt. There was a touch and a Cruyff turn of sorts on the far side as you watch it on television in the second half that was Berbatov-esque. It was out of this world. There was nearly a world-class assist in the first half. Probably would have been ruled out for Dorgu being offside, to be fair. So now, with hindsight, I'm kind of glad it didn't count because it would have hurt to have seen that taken away. But I thought Xerxes' hold-up plays, touch, his passing was out with it. And it was his touch and great pass into Dorgu that led to the red card. So, yeah, he had a magnificent night. But, of course, I can't go as great. For me, Heaven, Xerxes, on any other night, it would have been between those 2 for man of the match for me, Dorgu as well. But I can't overlook Bruno Fernandes. He was majestic on the ball. His ability to win back possession today was great. 2 penalties, and we're not like a lot of the other YouTube channels. I know a lot of you like those other YouTube channels that say penalties aren't real goals, but imagine that, watching a YouTube channel about football where they say penalties aren't real goals. Why would you watch any? Mad, right? But put those 2 penalties away under massive pressure, scores the 3rd, and becomes the first midfield player since Sir Bobby Charlton in 1964 against Borussia Dortmund to score a hat-trick in a knockout game in a European fixture. We haven't had that many players, even strikers, score hat-tricks in knockout games. You've got to remember, I'm not talking the group stage games, the knockout games. And even Sir Bobby Charlton's, that was in the early rounds when it was knockout straight away. So it wasn't a round of 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final, the real business end of that. But of course, he was the first to do it. So to be one of only 2 midfielders to ever score a hat-trick in a knockout European game, it's what legacies are built on. It's what legends are built on, and it was an amazing performance overall from him today, a captain's performance. And of late, he has stepped up so wonderfully well. And I think as this system, as the way we play is starting to really become slowly, we're not there yet. There's a long way to go. Feet are firmly on the ground. But as our system starts to embed even more and we find our feet and there's a balanced system. And you saw that today. A lot of the commentators, why isn't Lindelof starting? Because we need heaven. We need his technical ability, his defensive ability, but his physicality, his pace, his speed, his strength. We lack this. You suddenly have that at the back. You add Dorgu onto that left-hand side as an example. Xerxes starting to find that confidence, somebody to work and complement Bruno Fernandes. And in the last few weeks, maybe the last 5-6 weeks, really, we're starting to see the very best of him. Yes, you're going to find some passes and some crosses that go wayward that you don't like. But I saw, listen, the players I'm about to mention are better than Bruno. But it makes the point even more important. I've seen Paul Scholes. I have seen Michael Carrick. I'm talking about great Man United passers do it. Brian Robson. I've seen Zidane overhit crosses, underhit crosses, make the wrong pass it straight to an opponent before. Bruno is going to do that. I always felt the scrutiny he got was over the top. And the last few weeks, without him, we wouldn't be in Europe still. Without him, we'd be further down in the league. And I think if we can keep building, he's going to be here for the next 2 or 3 years. I don't think the club are going to sell him. He's really working hard to be a part of the club's future. And long may it continue. Nights like tonight, fantastic. I don't want to hear he doesn't turn up in big games. He scored and assisted and played brilliantly against so many of our top six big six rivals. The man's got goals and assists in cup finals. And then nights like tonight, where you need your captain to step up in a big European game, in a big European tournament, Bruno Fernandes went and did it. The majority of the criticism surrounding him now is dead. The debate is over. If you've said he's a bad football player, you have simply lost the debate. You are now talking to brick walls. It's over, people. It's done and it is dusted. But yes, well done to Man United. Very, very, very happy I am tonight indeed. I'm going to go to some of your super chats in a minute. Before I go forward, I want to say as well, well done to Tottenham tonight. Well done. Of course, I had the game on. I was watching it. I thought they played really well. Yes, there were some openings for AZ to attack and some opportunities for AZ. They obviously got a goal back. They had opportunities to go 2-2 on the night. I think that's just the way Big Ange, I think that's just the way they're going to play Tottenham forever. But I thought it was a very good Tottenham performance overall tonight. They looked potent and dangerous in the attack. I saw a lot of Spurs fans at half-time saying it isn't good enough. But again, I'm not watching Tottenham with any nerves, any anxiety, any stress. I'm just watching a game of football. And I thought they looked really good. I felt the goals were coming. They obviously went 1-0 up in that first half, a bit of a mistake, and the ball got buried. 2-0 up. I mean, the second goal, the Maddison goal, I thought was a very well-worked team goal, as was the third and the overarching winner of this tournament. I thought it was a brilliant goal, the way they worked it to. It's Odeberg. Is it Odeberg or Odeberg? Is it Berg or Bert? I assume it's Bert with a T, but you never know. I wasn't listening to the commentary, and I'm not really seeing him play that much for Spurs. But the third goal was, again, another wonderful team. But Archie Gray got penned in, the way he turned and worked his way through the press, played it into Maddison. It was excellent. You know, the little flick from Solanke, there's a little bit of fortune to it, but he's hoping someone's gambled, and he did, and he made it 3-1. And look, I think overall, Tottenham deserve their win. I think Spurs will be exciting. From a neutral's perspective, Spurs are going to be a really exciting team to watch in the remainder of the Europa League. And I've said this, I'm saying this now, there are favourites in everybody's minds, but anyone remaining in this tournament could win it. And I'm looking at Strasbourg Steve, and he's nodding. And there's no, look, on paper, historically, when you read the name, Man United should be the favourites, but we're not. But if we play how we did against Sociedad in every remaining game, we could win it. Lazio have been brilliant the whole tournament, but they had some hairy moments against Victoria Pilsen, who Man United beat, by the way, in the last round. And remember, it's 2 legs home and away. Lyon, you know, I've seen moments in the Europa League this year where they've looked good. Other times they've looked a bit scrappy. You've got Fenerbahce and Rangers right now in extra time. Again, Rangers, a team Man United beat, as an example. So there's some good teams left. Of course, Athletic Club Bilbao, very good players in their team. Anyone can win it. And that's what I love about the Europa League. I really feel like anybody can win it on their night, on their day. And I think it makes it a really exciting tournament. It really, really is. I really think it makes it an exciting tournament moving forward. So well done to Tottenham tonight for progressing. And look, I will say to Chelsea, I had it on. I didn't watch it. I didn't even have the sound on because I couldn't help but focus on my club, United. I had Spurs on because it is the bigger tournament. I felt you were going to go through. I thought it was a terrible first half for Chelsea. A really poor first half indeed. Not much going on. No real penetration. And I'm a little bit sad to see Copenhagen go out because I actually think, and I want to make sure I say this in the right way, on technical ability, I think they were every bit as good as Chelsea in these last 2 games. They just didn't have the finishers. They just that element of the game in terms of technicians, great runners. They had all of that, and they matched Chelsea for large parts of these games. It's just that final ball or shot, the finishing, the final ball, that little bit of extra creativity. That's the difference between the 2 squads over the 2 legs. I'd have loved to have seen Copenhagen stay in and maybe be in a different part of the tournament. But congratulations to Chelsea, you're through. Yes, and all 3 clubs remain in the Europa League and Conference League, respectively. Let's take a little look here at the super chats that have come through. First one here says, Bruno will get the credit, but Dorgu was mint. Do you know what it is, Owen? It's about, I can't control what any other Man United fan does, and I would never try to. But do you know what my message is to Man United fans? From probably the Jose days up until now, there has been player FC and a massive divide in our fan base. My player is better than your player. This guy should get more credit than this individual. None of that has helped Man United be better. So I think Man United fans, if you love the club, I think we should drop that bullshit. For me, I'm not saying you're doing that with this super chat. I think Bruno will get a lot of credit tonight. He got a hat-trick in a European game. Only the second midfielder in United's history to do it. And the first guy to do it since 1964. So what we're looking at there, 61 years. He deserves huge praise. But so does Dorgu, so does Heaven, so does Xerxes, so does De Ligt, so does Casemiro. And that's my standout individuals. The ones that I looked at and went, wow, you were brilliant today. I thought all of them were great in a different way. But Dorgu, look, there's no guarantees about how Man United's system is going to end and how good we're going to look at the end of this process of building a squad. But you see with Aiden Heaven in the team, you see with Dorgu in the team when there's more balance. And it isn't just about the physicality is very important, but you had 2 left-footed players on the left, which means it's easier for that centre-back in the left-sided position to open up and pass out to that side. You had a bit more balance and everything looks better as a team. That's why I'm excited about the summer. 4 or 5 new players coming in. I guarantee you there's a really high level of technical ability in many of those signings, but in every single one of them, they're going to have great physicality. You start adding it to this team, we will win a lot more games. Patrick here says, big up Till, a big win for United. Some dodgy decisions, but glad to be on the right side of them. Best attacking display in the second half under Amorim. Yeah, look, I think all 4 penalties were soft. The most stonewall for me was Rasmus Højlund's. But we know in UEFA you concede them. And by the way, United will probably concede a soft penalty at some point between now and the end of this tournament. And we won't hear soft penalty. We'll hear that's UEFA's rules. But yeah, we know the handballs have been weird for years. The red card, literally one was given to Mats Hummels. I assume it's Mats Hummels. I saw Hummels. I'm sure there's not another Hummels out there today, but I hear you. Hit the like button, people. Yes, get that done if you haven't done so already. Get the like button smash, please. Jerome here says, mudded brothers are through. That's all I care about. And listen, that is the most important thing, getting through to the next round, being in the tournament, because when you're in it, you can win it. You know, as much as that sounds like a cheesy cliche, there's truth to it. If you go out tonight, imagine you have a great performance, the best you've had all season, but you lose. It's like, damn, that performance was great, but we're going home. Or going out. You don't really go home because you're at home tonight. But yes, of course, that's the massively important thing. But Bermuda Guna says United played well, but the ref was awful. No pens. Yeah, look, again, if no pens were given, United still go through because we scored from open play in the first game. So it would have been 1-0 up. It would have stayed 1-0 right up until Bruno's to the red card. Then Bruno scored, then Delo scored. So we'd have won 3-0. So that, for me, it's, in terms of the game state, it doesn't change any. If all 4 soft penalties get taken off, Man United still win and go through. We took the lead. We were the better team over 2 legs. We had the majority of the chances, majority of the big chances. So, yeah, I'm not, and the red card was a stonewaller. Go back and look what I said about Salibas and see if I'm changing my energy. Go back. Same energy. Xerxes special tonight. Xerxinio. Listen, I'm going to say this now. Let's put no Dino on his name. Doesn't need that. He's not Brazilian. It's Joshua Xerxes. It's Joshua Xerxes. And I will say, look, for a man that was jeered off the pitch wrongfully, the way he's bounced back, I'll say to him, that's what a man does. That's what a competitor does. Didn't cry, didn't boo-hoo, didn't run to social media, didn't have his girlfriend tweeting or doing press conferences about how sad he feels, wasn't doing interviews with top journalists on the internet. He went, I'm going to show them they're wrong. And he has. And now the crowd love him. And he gets, and I will say this, there is still a lot of speculation from a lot of United fans, not speculation, a lot of word that were there that said I did jeer when it happened, but it was not about Xerxes individually. It was because we could all see for 30 odd minutes that a change had to be made and they didn't do it. So some definitely jeered at him, but there's also a lot that have said it was actually more about the system change. So, and seeing Mainu come on. But either way, I didn't like how it looked, the optics. I didn't like what some people did to him, but I'm so proud of Xerxes' turnaround, and he's becoming a very competent player. He's just got to get a few more goals. Of course, Rasmus needs to as well. I'm not singling Xerxes out. If Xerxes can start to score a few more goals, looking at a very, very, very talented player. Best performance under Ruben. I thought conceding that early goal helped the team because it puts the pressure on us to react. Xerxes, for me, was man of the match. Hopefully, we can register Cheeto this time. No, we can't. He can't be registered for the rest of the tournament. He just won't be able to play Cheeto Obi. There's nothing there that can be done. That's why you're going to see Rasmus get game time, because the manager's gambling here in the league on if he gets a goal or two. And by the way, I'm saying this, if Rasmus could find some form, I don't care what it means for his future. If he can find some form in the last 2 months, as he's done before in Europe, it gives Man United an even bigger chance of winning this, because you've got to be able to score goals. But yeah, great shout there on man of the match. Man United are finally finding their feet. The game against Arsenal was good, and now another great game. Yeah, look, I've been happy with our performance, with our overarching performances of late. And, hopefully long may it continue. But I'm going to keep the same energy as when we've had bad games. I'm not going to throw bait. What I'm not going to do is start tweeting and attacking and DMing all the United fans that were asking him to be sacked. I'm just keeping my powder dry. I'm not playing. I'm going to try my best. And I can't promise I'll always do this, because I'm a human being and I'm emotional like everybody else. I'm not playing those games. I'm going to sneeze. I'm not playing those games. I'm just not getting involved, because I'm not going to stoop to the level of those amoebas. I'm not going to do it, because for me, I don't want to tempt fate. I don't want to hang on the football gods, or, I believe in that type of thing, but I'm going to rise above that behavior. I'm going to try to set a better example. And I don't think us warring each other over a battle of ideologies helps a football club. Let's have a sensible, open, balanced, fair, respectful debate. The rest of it can do one. I'm saying that now. Maybe one day I'll feel a bit different, but right now, that's how I feel. Chelsea fan here, didn't watch the game. It doesn't matter. Playboy, Carty dropping at midnight. Big up yourself, Andrew. Hope that you are well, mate. Big up Terry. Looking forward to a call in today. Chelsea was dog shit, especially in the first half. The last 3 games worry me in terms of performances. And we'll be sharing that link in just a few seconds, actually, for you guys to come on and have your say. We've got Canadian Cam backstage and Strasbourg Steve coming on as well. So it'd be great to hear. I'm going to actually share that link out now if you guys want to come on and have your say. I have to forget I have to do all these things now. Brian, call in, bro. Do you know about this guy, Brian? I see him on other channels every now and then. This man has been coming on and communicating and working with the Football Terrace since we were called the Devil's Bus TV in 2014. So big up yourself, Brian. Long-standing viewer, member, super chatter, contributor. You absolute stalwart, mate. Love you. If Højlund holds up the ball like that for the rest of the season, our attack can go places. I'm proud of him. And you know what, Josh? His hold-up play was better today. And I think that for me was a massive standout moment. The hold-up play was better. There was creativity there, which was important. Look, he gets himself an assist, and it was decent. I'd like to see his shooting improve, but tonight you can't say he didn't make the right runs. He made the right runs. He was in the right places at the right time, and his time. Listen, we're playing Leicester at the weekend. There'll be chances. Hopefully the goal comes in, and if he gets a goal and he can do what he did before and score 5, 6, 7 games on the bounce, we'll improve in the league. We might beat Lyon. We could get to a semi-final. And we'll see where we are. But yeah, overall, I was personally happy with his performance tonight, and that I think is a really important element here. Devil's Bus TV, right? Time for it, mate. It does. It was a long time ago but and this is what's really funny because we were doing fan cams before most channels. We were doing I did a watch along last night on That's Football, and it was quite nice to do one. I started them before anyone did. And then I didn't enjoy doing them. It was just like, I like to watch football and focus on it. And I find it hard to sometimes do that and talk to an audience. But yeah, Devil's Bus TV. And then I was made to change it because the guy that owned the bus got angry, which never made any sense because he said it was becoming a brand. I didn't even understand what he meant at the time. He never did. And then we changed it to the Devil's Terrace. And then I'll be honest, I got very bored of just talking about Man United. It's not what I grew up doing. My friends, because I grew up in London, we all supported different teams. And we'd sit there, whether it be at school, at work, out on a night out. We'd get the night bus on a way to going out, or a night bus home after being at a club in London. You're on there for an hour and a half getting home of all the stops. And you just sit there and just talk football. And everybody spoke about everybody else's clubs. And nobody did the whole, but you can't have an opinion. You're a Cheltenham fan. It was just, you're a bloke. You can speak football. And my friends group was purely men. So that's what I mean by that. And I loved it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to recreate what me and my friends talk about football-wise on the internet. And I remember when I did it, I was told it was stupid and nobody would ever listen to rivals talking about rival clubs. Some of the biggest football YouTubers in the world told me that. And I'm so glad I did it. I genuinely am so glad I went with my gut feeling. I thought, listen, if it's good enough for me and my mates, I think it's good enough for you lot. But there we go. Right now, everyone should root for Rangers, no Jose. What's actually happening in that game? I'm going to actually turn my television back on because I'm going to keep that on. But it's Thursday night, and I've decided to have a couple of little drinks as well. But I have a couple of little drinks tonight. And after I'm done, I'm going to actually sit down and watch. I'm going to pick a box set to watch. Not the whole thing. Hang on a minute. I've got the sound on here. I don't want the sound on. Is it on? There it is. Hang on. Let me turn it down, though, because don't need those copyright strikes. It's mad that. I'll have the sound on a bit. You guys won't be able to hear it, but there we go. Right, game's on. All right, time for my panel now, people. Time for the panel. Canadian Cam is here. Steve is here. Andrew's here. Elijah is with me. Canadian Cam, we did it, baby. We did it.
Yeah, hold on, let me make sure my mic's close. Yeah, we did it in good fashion too, man. I will start with Rasmus because I'm always very hard on him, and I like to show I can be fair. He played really well today. He does need to start scoring goals. I mean, I do think the second chance he had where it just went past the post, like, I'm hoping in the future that's an automatic goal. I don't think they can. When they were saying he should have scored on the penalty, I don't see how he could have. Like, the reason he didn't score was his leg got caught underneath. So I personally prefer the way they call the game in UEFA than the Prem when it comes to pens, because it's pretty clear. It's like, and if it's not, it's not. Like, they did a good job. It wasn't the last one. We're like, that's not a pen. Cool. All right, no big deal. Move on.
Yeah,
if you don't call it,
they're soft, but they're consistent in giving soft penalties. Yeah.
If you don't call it, then you don't get a chance to go look at it. It's like, it makes it harder to overturn it. For me, it's just he took a quick look and he was like, all right, pen. I think the one on Dorgu, I looked at it more. At first, I would have been like, yeah, I would have been upset if we got it, but the whole setting a pick, we were talking about it in the group chat. I was like, he kind of, basically, like you said, he went forward. So at that point, Dorgu couldn't take the ball and get it to, because that's what he was going to do. He was going to get the ball, get it to Rasmus. He couldn't go through. He couldn't do anything with it. So that to me was a pen. Like it was soft, but it was a pen. It is what it is. I'd have been upset if it was us. And I think the red was stone cold. I don't like everybody saying, oh, well, the defender could have got there. Cool. But if I'm a ref, I'm behind the play. I see that you take a man out and all that's in front, if the ball, if that ball had been taken away from him, all right, cool. Like away from net, yellow. But it was towards net. So now you're guessing. You're saying, can that defender catch him? There's nobody in front of him. I don't know. It's a clear one. So what, like, though the penalties for me, I think it is what it is. I was really impressed with Dorgu. There's a player there. There's a player. I'm not going to jump the gun because it's against who he's playing against in Europa versus what he'll see in the Prem. But there's a player there. He won so many duels. The most impressive for me was the duel he won in the penalty box. He didn't get the cross off right. He seems his decision making is not there yet, but he won the penalty right, like in the box. It was beautiful. Took the ball off him. I was like, we haven't had a fullback do that in so long. Like in so long that like every time he touched the ball, he was looking to cross it. Every single time. Every single time he was looking across it. That guy, he did it. That last pass where he dummied, where he faked the shot and dummied. I'm like, you are trying so hard to get Rasmus a goal, and this guy doesn't want to score. Like he at that point, you could tell.
It was funny as well because if you looked at Bruno like got annoyed at him, and I think what Bruno saying is, we all want Rasmus to score, but we need that third goal to just kill the game off, and that would have been the time to do it. And I agree with Dorgu. And you know what he just has? I don't think it's that he's got good technical ability, but what he has that we've been lacking from so many players for so long is that when he does get half a yard on a player because of a good touch and a drop of the shoulder, he can go because he's got acceleration. And I think it's such an underappreciated asset in a player until you don't have it. And you see like Maz as an example. Maz is excellent. And he did beat some players tonight when they were down to 10 men. But if he knocks it past a player and he's got half a yard, you can catch him on the ball quite quickly. Yep. Dorgu, it's very hard. And then if you are catching him, he did it brilliantly tonight. He'll just put his body in front of you, wait for the impact, get the foul from a dangerous area. Yeah, very, very impressed with him. What was your thoughts, Cam, on Bruno Fernandes tonight, picking up the hat-trick, a really good captain performance as well?
My fucking captain, man. I just leave my captain the fuck alone. Like everybody's talking about, first off, those penalties are high pressure penalties. The first one especially, he cannot miss that. They just scored early in the game. You cannot miss that penalty because you will embolden them. Their fans will go crazy. You got to score that. The rest of the game, like Brian actually, he put the facts out because he's big on. He put the statistics out there. Bruno, 80% pass completion, but guess what? 6 of 9 on those long balls. He was great tonight. He saw everything. I thought he led like a captain, and I loved everything about him. The way he was getting on the players when he should have, the way he was getting on the ref when he should have. It's at one point, a commentator for us, you have different commentators. I found out when I was talking to the group. At one point, they're like, "Oh, his body language towards his teammate there when he had a bad touch." I'm like, that was on him. He was mad at himself. No matter what he does, they come for him. And for me at this stage, it's like you cannot be coming for a player who is just consistently not just our best player, but the best player on the pitch. He was the best player on both sides. He didn't put a foot wrong for me. He runs his ass off. I got nothing but praise for Bruno, and I really hope, again, I keep saying it, I hope he's here for this transformation because for me, he's now dropped deeper into midfield, a role that everybody said he couldn't do. Everybody and their mom said there's no chance this guy can play in this role, even though we've seen it for Portugal. He's doing it for Amorim. He seems to get the system quicker than anybody else. He's adjusted quicker than anybody else. So, like, with him and Cass today, they looked comfortable, which we haven't seen in a while. So, Bruno, for me, Bruno and Xerxes were our best two players on the pitch. Dorgu with a very good third shout. We were comfortable today, and I look forward to the next round. I look forward to, I like in the background, Steve was saying, let's see how we deal with the creative players. How you deal with creative players is you control the ball and make sure they don't get a lot of opportunities. And we did that today. I know they got a red card, but today for me, the Amorim system, you see it. You see the wide players. the Dorgu pit, the P&P. Know what happened, Terry? Do you know what the thing is where people stop forgetting about that? Not forgetting about why that's important or started hating on it is because like that is a Rashford special. That is what he does. And everybody's like, oh, that's all he does is kick it past the guy and run, pick it past. Well, you need that sometimes. And we're seeing that it really helped today because without Dorgu, we don't get those penalties. We don't put the pressure on them like we need to. So all in all, man, I thought it was a great performance from the team. I think defensively we were sound, but we have been better defensively under Amorim. It's just nobody wants to see it. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, there's gaps in the midfield. Yeah. Oh, we're not controlling. Like nobody wants. We are not conceding a million shots.
And do you know what I think really? And what's really, really important about that? Yes, we're conceding goals, but a lot of it's been penalties or there's like an individual error as opposed to being torn open and being peppered. And what's really encouraging is that we've lost Maguire, that was an important part for early on Ruben. We've lost Lisandro Martinez, who I thought started terribly in the system, but was growing into being a player where even Staffy was praising him. And it's a little joke there, Staffy. We've lost two of our main three centre-backs, but the system is prevailing. And it's, as I keep saying, it is early days. I am not getting carried away. I am not getting ahead of myself in terms of this is going to be amazing. But the one thing we've been asking for as United fans is, well, when we have some players out, can we maintain a consistency of performance? And we have seen that in periods of games. So for me, of course, transfer windows are needed. The squad needs to be improved and so much more. But I feel there is, for me, whenever I hear someone say, I see nothing to be excited about or I see nothing to be encouraged about, I think you're either blind or you're deliberately ignoring elements that you could look at and say, well, that's good. This looks really great. And Xerxes is an example in an attacking role. Game in, game out, the more he's playing, he is starting to flourish. His weight of pass is getting better. His confidence is coming through. Now, I want to see a lot more, and I want more consistency. I'm not satisfied right now. I'm not saying that's it. He's a top player. We shouldn't demand more. But I'm just prepared to give these players in this system, some of these players in this system more time, like Xerxes as an example. I really, really am. We're going to come on to Chelsea in a few moments. Steve's been waiting backstage for quite a while. Obviously, Lazio tonight pick up a really important win. I assume you were watching that game. Did you play earlier or at the same time as us?
No, it was the early game.
The early game. 1-1 on the night, but you went through as well. What other games were you watching today, Steve?
Yeah, at work, I was getting bored of the Fenerbahce Rangers game. I mean, Rangers tonight have been horrible against Fenerbahce, to be honest. It's an extra time right now. I'd probably going to a shootout, but I was watching Lyon and FCSB, and yeah, Lyon for me are definitely like top 2, 3-ish contenders. I see a very strong 4, like a core 4 of favorites. I still have Athletic Club as number 1, probably. 2, I would either, it's between Frankfurt and Lyon for me. Maybe even edge it towards slightly for Lyon because of their attacking depth. I believe they have 6 really good attackers and 2 creative players that they can bring off the bench in Cherki and Almada, who's been playing really well lately. Got the midfield depth for it with Matic, Veretout, Tessman as well. And the center backs, Mata and Niakate, who used to play at Forest. He's been really good. He's been in really good form too. So I think, and then Lazio probably, around 4th or something like that, because we've been kind of off lately, to be honest. But Lyon tonight, what's it called, against FCSB. Mikel Tadze started. He was brilliant. Nuama took 2 goals really well, and Cherki was doing Cherki things. So I think Lyon Man United is a really good test to see if Man United can keep up with those good performances, because they will test you. They have a lot to offer going forward. Real Sociedad, after the first leg, I was like, you know what? You could get these guys at home, to be honest, because Real Sociedad, they show up when they want to. They're so inconsistent. And
we're going to face my younger brother.
What?
We're going to face my younger brother.
Cherki. Yeah. No, but that will be a really, really good game. I think it could. I mean, Lyon could get a few goals at home. They have a crazy streak recently, Lyon. They've scored at least 2 goals in about, I think, something crazy like 10 straight games. And a lot of those games, they've been scoring 3s and 4s. They played Paris Saint-Germain off the park second half in their recent Liga meeting. And PSG had a full team out there. So it's really, really good.
Yeah, no, mate, you're right. Listen, as a Man United fan, I ain't getting carried away because of the league or the name or the history of any of these clubs.
Yeah.
At Lyon, they might be sitting 6th in Liga. We are 14th in the Premier League. So, you know, and the one thing about Liga that I know is out of all the leagues in Europe, it's one where often the depth in all squads for speed, physicality, running often matches a lot of the Premier League sides, where I think against Sociedad today, the one thing we had, and we can't say this often for Man United, I think we had more legs than them. And we don't normally say we have more legs in the team. We had more legs than Sociedad. Yeah. I don't think that would be true with Lyon. So it'll be a very different test for us. But I also look at it from this perspective. If we can get past Lyon, I think that's proof that we have the ability to win it, if that makes sense. So I think that can give us the belief at the same time. Equally, if we get battered by them, 1, we're out. And 2, well, we were never going to get past. Like, you think like Bilbao are still in it, Frankfurt, Lazio. The idea, because again, it's more than likely going to be Bilbao versus Lyon or Man United in the semi-finals. As much as I've watched both Fenerbahce and Rangers, I think Atletico Bilbao beat them both personally, in my opinion. So really, really tough tie ahead.
I was just going to say about the legs, if you're looking at Lyon, the only player in their squad really that isn't known for having legs is Matic. But Tanner Tessman makes up for it in midfield.
Yeah, we faced
Tolisso as well. Tolisso's got an underrated little engine. And Tolisso,
I'm excited about the game. Like, you know me, I won't be counting my chickens whatsoever. The hope for us as well, I don't know about the state of their squad right now. You know, Mason Mount's barely kicked the ball for us, but the manager seems to think about him. He likes getting Mainu back is going to be really important. I think adding Mainu back into the midfield. You know, hopefully Toby Collier and Ugarte can stay. The fact we didn't have to use Ugarte tonight was really good for us. I think he was slightly rushed back tonight to be on that bench. That's why he didn't come on and kick the ball. I'm going to go to pick Chelsea. And I'm going to come to you, Staffy. Penalties are about to start, by the way. Rangers versus Fenerbahce. We'll keep you updated. I'm watching on the television, so none of you should be ahead of me, to be fair, because normally television is what's his name? Tadic. Is that Tadic?
Dusan Tadic, yeah.
Tadic, yeah. You know when you see someone, I'm just recommend. Yeah, he's taking the first penalty now. Elijah, Chelsea tonight. You go through to the next round, but I have taken a little look online. A lot of Chelsea fans frustrated with the performance and the way you played tonight. Do you agree with that, or is it just about getting to the next round? What's on your mind, mate?
For me, it's both, Terry. Like, the performance tonight wasn't that great, but at least we got the job done.
By the way, if the penalty's missed, I might shout over you. So just keep talking. But if the penalty's missed, I'll probably shout. All
right. Yeah. So, yeah, both. Like, I was frustrated at the performance. Like, the first half, Terry, it was so dead. Like, we had 0 attempts in the first half. And the last time this happened in Europe for us was in November 2013.
That is misses save, Butland. He goes down the middle and he gets the goalkeeper, Butland, dives to his left.
Damn, you spoiled for us, Terry. Relax.
Oh, I'll leave you guys to. I won't say nothing. It was great. He goes down the middle and the goal. He gets his foot to it. Oh, sorry, Elijah. Back to you, brother. I'll keep my mouth shut now, guys. I apologize. Sorry.
All right. So it was November 2013. Was away to Basel. The last time we had 0 shots in the first half, but we went through, and I have to say, Juice Buchol, like, I don't know where that goal came from, but that was a brilliant goal. He just went past 3 or 4 defenders for Copenhagen. He just puts it through, and it was a great goal. But I feel like the performance was really, really bad, Terry. And we got Arsenal on Sunday, and I'm telling you, I'm not confident going to that game because, number one, it's away to the Emirates Stadium, and we don't have a good record there. Number 2, we don't play a low block, like Man United, West Ham, and Forest do, because that is how Arsenal cannot handle its low block. So we cannot do that. And number 3, we're getting dominated by Arsenal, and we're going to get battered if we play like what we saw tonight. So for me, I feel like it's good that we've won, but if we want to finish in the Champions League next season, the performances need to be a lot better. And I expect the tactics to change, and I expect every single player to really step up, because Cole Palmer He came on. And in the second half, we have looked a bit better when Cuckoo and Cole Palmer came on. But to be honest with you, Palmer is yet to score and yet to get an assist because he had chances to score. I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. I'm not sure if it's his confidence or the fact that last season is a one-season wonder. But Palmer needs to really step up. Like you got also on Sunday, you have to prove to yourself. Why you're still a good player for Chelsea, because you cannot turn up in like the game against like Leicester, Southampton, all that stuff, but they don't turn up against Arsenal, Liverpool and Man City where we really need you. So it's not only him. So the good thing is that Caicedo doesn't miss the Arsenal game, even though he got a yellow card. At least he doesn't miss the Arsenal game, and I'm glad he's been taken off, because if he would have stayed on that pitch, I would have feared that he would have got an injury. So if you know what I mean. But listen, we got our players back. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong on Sunday. But to be honest with you, Terry, I've got no confidence against Arsenal. They're going to battle us like they always do. So I don't know what to say other than that. But we've won, we progress, we move on. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters tonight, no doubt. Andrew, do you echo what Elijah said, or do you see it slightly differently, mate?
So I am happy about us moving forward, but like I said in my super chat, I am really concerned about the last three performances against Copenhagen, against Leicester, and again Copenhagen. The thing is that Cole Palmer wasn't showing up in big games. We saw that, but he's not showing up in these games now, and that's become a problem. And yes, it's a lull. Yes, it's a performance. It's a sort of psychological thing. He needs to get his confidence back. But this first half performance was the worst. Like, I know I said this like 4 or 5 weeks ago, but this is like really the worst performance I've seen. I can't believe against Copenhagen we couldn't get one shot. Like, just get a shot. Like, off target, doesn't matter. We couldn't even get that. And for me, that is concerning. And I put that on the manager because of the team selection. Like, what he picked, his starting lineup was not good. And I think that on Sunday when we play Arsenal again, if we don't get that team selection proper, I think it's going to be a problem. Because I said this a couple of days ago as a hot take that we will win a league before Arsenal and all of those things. But if we really want to stand with them or stand shoulder to shoulder with them, we really need to get the team selection properly. Lavia has to play. I think he's out of injury. He's come back. He needs to play. Reece James in the middle is looking good in that position. So I think he has to continue to play there. Maybe he'll stay injury free if he plays that position. And I think that even Cole Palmer, even today, he had a chance that he would normally put away, but it's just not happening for him. And I don't like this style of football that we are currently playing, because in the beginning of the season, we were creating a lot of chances and we were missing. So we were always putting the blame on Jackson or whoever the striker was at that time. Now we're not creating as much. We're just rotating the ball, sending it back. And it's just frustrating to watch. It's just recycled football that they keep playing, which is like, as you know, I was doing work while I was watching the game, and I was like, my work seems more fun than the game. Like, the game is so boring.
Look, I'm not trying to dunk on Chelsea, because I was someone. Yeah, I saw that miss as well. Oh, it's Fred now. You know what? Fenerbahce is literally like a graveyard of Premier League players, isn't it?
Yep.
And Premier League manager.
Fred! I've ruined it, but Fred just got his penalty. Oh, Fred! Oh, Fred!
Fred missed. Oh my God!
Yeah, we're not missing a save. Butland saves it.
Fred was really good at penalties.
Butland's been he's almost got to all. Byron won.
Butland's a penalty save specialist.
Well, by the way, I didn't speak to any of you about this the other night. Donnarumma on penalties.
Monster.
I actually think he's got the best penalty saving technique ever because of his size. He waits for the shot and then dives. He waits for the shot and then he dives. Most goalkeepers, especially David Raya, they dive before the player shoots. Like Bruno, it's like both his penalties today. He literally just before the goalie dives and he goes, right, I'm going the other way. And they never miss those guys.
It helps that he's like 6'7" though. But
who are you taking? Who are you taking in a penalty shootout though? If you could pick between the two, Martinez or Donnarumma?
Donnarumma.
Martinez
I
for
would say
sure. No
Donnarumma
one won more
first, right.
penalties shooters than Martinez.
Oh,
I get it, but like Donnarumma hasn't been in as many big ones.
I mean,
just
he
don't
was
like
in the Euro
Martinez. I don't
final.
like Martinez as a guy, bro. I can't
Martinez
say
won one in
Martinez
a
because I
World
just
Cup
don't
final. There's
like
nothing
him.
bigger than that.
do you know what?
No,
For
but
me,
I don't like
I-
Martinez
I'm-
because of
I'm
his
like-
shithousery. I just don't
I'm
like
like,
him.
yeah, I love that.
I
I
love
love
it.
it in a minute because I opened a pack. I bought a very special pack on FC 825 the other day, and I got a 94 rated special card
Martinez.
of M Martinez, and I ain't losing games anymore because this guy saves everything. So, if Fenerbahce miss this penalty they're about to take, they will be out. I'm going
We
to
need
keep
that.
quiet so you boys see
Yeah,
it.
don't spill.
I want no part of Jose. So,
Yeah, I think
Bro,
Jose-
we gotta focus on Leon, bro.
I
Don't
get
worry.
it. I'm just saying, like, you want to get rid of it
On
before.
Leon.
Like, you don't
Well,
even want it to be a consideration.
I'll let you guys wait. How far behind the penalty are you all?
He's stepping up right now.
I'm on the
Yeah.
Rangers penalty one. The
Yeah,
You're still on the
one.
Rangers? Jesus Christ. Were you watching
No,
this from
no.
1982?
That's how CBS is for us. That's why when I do
Yeah.
watch-alongs and people bitch at me for being late. I'm like, bro, the whole country's behind. What do you want me to do?
Wait till you see it. Wait till you see it.
That's a video penalty.
So in North America, we just put that up. That's what that means. That's
No, I'm seeing the Fenerbahce last penalty.
Field goal.
Don't you guys have like over here? So if we stream it, say I watch it on the Discovery Plus or TNT Sport app, or I watch it on Sky's app, I'm a minute behind. Streaming's always a minute behind.
Yeah.
When you watch it on television or cable TV or terrestrial TV, you're basically you're never behind. The only thing that's ever ahead of the TV by about 10 seconds are all the betting apps. All the betting apps have they are about 10 seconds ahead. Because you're never actually watching live sport. There's always a slight delay.
We don't get it
12 seconds.
live in Canada. Well, it's probably the same. In
Oh
North
my
America,
God!
Because all the
All right,
rights,
Elijah.
all the rights
Wow.
get sold, right? So basically, the Zone bought all the rights for Europa and UCL.
Right,
Like
Wow.
the different Fubo has Premier League, so it's the only thing that's on cable for me. The only thing I can watch on cable is the FA Cup. That's the only thing.
Right, I get you.
Because
I get you.
He owns it, and they're like, we're not selling it. So
That makes
the
sense.
only thing.
Staffy, Man United tonight. We played well. We scored goals. Give me your take. I know you've been someone that's been a big advocate of the way we've been playing in the last few games in terms of green shoots of hope and progression. I spoke about that at the beginning and mentioned it was you that said it, not me. I don't like to plagiarize. What did you make of the boys tonight? Break it down for us, mate.
Yeah, listen, first of all, I'm always happy to qualify to the next round in any European competition. So that in isolation, it's good, especially when you consider the season we've been having. I don't think there's anything that's going to save our season, but surely it would make our season look a lot better if we go on all the way to win this. And no, I still don't think we're good enough to win it, but it's good to see that we're at least in the final 3 rounds. On the day, though, I was very optimistic today. I thought that I've seen a lot of progression over the last few games. I tweeted that first thing in the morning, actually. And I was like, you know what? I just feel like I've seen progression over the last 3 games, especially. And I actually realized today that it hit me that we actually didn't lose in our last 5 games. The Fulham game, we lost on penalties, but we didn't lose within the 90 minutes. So I think our performances have been improving. That they're nowhere near as good as I want them to be, but they've been improving. And today I was happy to see that this whole pragmatic thing is a whole myth. I feel like there's too many people that talk without actually understanding what they're saying. I was pragmatic against Arsenal, not because I'm a pragmatic team. It's because Arsenal are just better than me. Anyone who thought we were going to open up against Arsenal, I'm not going to lie, that's your fault. The blueprint was there anyways. You had 2 teams that faced Arsenal and shut them down in West Ham and Norwich, and not Norwich, sorry, in Forest. And then you had PSV, who didn't really sit back and kind of defend against them, and they conceded 7. Any logical coach, any logical manager would say, well, which blueprint am I following? The one that comes up with a clean sheet or the one that conceded 7? And we did what was right. And we were compact against them. And I thought we pressed very well against Arsenal. And I was curious to see what happens today, how good our press are going to be against a much less physical team in Sociedad. And I saw what should have happened in the first leg. We scored 4. Obviously, the red card helped us, but we scored 4. Arguably, we should have scored more if we had killers up front in this team. it reached a point where when Bruno was on a hat trick, I actually tweeted this again. The amount of tweets that I got right today was actually insane. I was like, you know what, bro? Let Bruno get his hat trick so we can end this game already. And in 10 minutes, he scored his hat trick. And I was like, he's the only. It just looked like there was one of those games where no one's scoring except for Bruno, because it's like they were arguing who's gonna miss the most today. Is it Højlund? Is it Xerxes? Is it Garnacho? Poor final third finishing whatsoever. Again, so by no means whatsoever am I taking this and saying, oh, we scored 4, it means we have a good attack. No, this was a Bruno hat trick and Dallo just goal out of nowhere type of game. So I'm not taking too much out of it. But listen, some great performances today for some of the players. This whole thing with Casemiro, every time he plays a good game, just annoys me. It's just like people wait for him to play a good game, and they never speak to me when he doesn't play well. They always come to me when he plays well, and they say things that I've never said. Oh, you said he was this. I've never said that Casemiro cannot play in a game like this. I actually thought this game was suited to him. Slow game. Don't have to rely on him to do a lot of one-on-one defending. We dominated most of the possession. I know there's one thing guaranteed in life. You know what they say? Death, taxes, and whatever else you want to say. It's always that one long ball from Casemiro. I just know that that ball is going to happen about 3-4 times a game. And he was unlucky, honestly, not to get an assist from it today, because it led to the first goal where we got that penalty. But him and Bruno kept doing this whole pick and roll thing. And if you watch basketball, you'd understand it.
Yeah.
They kept doing that thing. And I'm like, you know what, bro? It's been working. It's one of his better games.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, what helps Cass, though, is that as this system is starting to be embedded and understood better, he's not being exposed in terms of runners and legs, and there isn't as much space around him.
Can I read a quote that just dropped from Lloyd Whitwell?
I'll go 1 second, but he wins the ball because where he was failing to win the ball is when there was a massive space where there's 20, 30 yards between. It's easier for them to play the ball, and he can't get to the ball. Because we're more compact when we're out of possession and the positioning is better, he has to cover less ground, which means he can get to those openings. And that's not because, listen, Cass is still a very good player, but you need the right system for a player his age. And I think it's a combination of the two things for me. But sorry, Cam, you were going to say something.
You're going to love this because, I mean, you know ball, right? And obviously you didn't see this quote because it was quoted at 6:45 p.m. while we've been on here and while you've been watching the game. Lloyd Whitwell from Amorim. I am improving the way I should play Casemiro. I'm not putting Casemiro pressing really high. Our team is well connected. That is helping Casemiro in short space. He can understand where the ball is going. I understand better the characteristics of the players. So basically what you just said is exactly what the manager has realized with him. Like you keep him in positions where he can succeed, and he will. Which is, I have to say, the big knock on Amorim that everyone's been saying, and they're wrong about, is he can't adapt. He's not changing his. This just shows you he's adapting, but he's adapting with how he uses the players. He doesn't have to sacrifice his system. He doesn't have to change like how we play football. He just has to learn how to deploy the players in the system.
It's about what do I need to make my system work? Well, this is how I'm going to use Cass, because I can adapt to your attributes and your age and your abilities to work within my system, as opposed to I'm going to throw my system out the window and let you play how you want. That there is a difference between those two things, and it's great to listen. For me, there's a few debates that have ended in today. First of all, anyone who said Ruben can't adapt, it means if you just watch the Arsenal game and the Sociedad game, you can see someone who will adapt based on the opponent. And what he's just said there about Casemiro, we've seen the proof in the pudding. Saying he can't adapt is now a moot point. It should be shut down in debate because the examples are there. The other debate that's now gone is that Bruno Fernandes is a bad football player. It's done now. You don't score for me. You don't do everything else he's done for Man United. Scored in cup finals, assisted in cup finals, great record against the fellow Big Six teams, wonderful goals, loads of brilliant performances. Yes, there's been some stinkers, but even the greatest of all time have had stinkers. But for me, you ain't with all the other things he's done, the trophies he's won, everything at the club. You don't become only the second midfielder in United's history, the first in 61 years, score a hat-trick in a European knockout game and get called a bad football player for me. You don't have to be everybody's cup of tea, but you can't be a bad football player. Someone could not like him. He may not be your cup of tea. He may not be your preference, but you can't call him bad. I don't like opera but that doesn't mean that Luciano Pavarotti is a bad singer. And that's how I view Bruno Fernandes. You can dislike what he does aesthetically, but to say objectively he's a bad football player, I think is flat out wrong. Sorry, Staffy.
No, you're good. Listen, I want to add something to this because people remember me and you for one thing when we stream together. We always go at each other, especially when it came to Bruno. And here's what I want to add to this. I've been very quiet on Bruno. Sorry, not quiet. I've been quiet on the criticism on Bruno over the last few games, even when there was games where we weren't winning. It's because you just have to be objective at some point, and you got to tell when someone was bad and was rightfully criticized. He was rightfully criticized in the first half of the season. You don't look at the last 6 to 7 games now. I think it's been 7 games, and you say he's been bad. Now, the chat, look, already, I'm being called a fraud. No, it's called being objective. When Bruno was getting sent off 3 times in the beginning of the season, I don't think even Cam can look at me and be like, you know what? You're right for criticizing someone for getting sent off. You're on mute. He was rightfully criticized.
I agreed with you there. Those were bad moments.
Dude, he came out and said after there was one game where he played very well. Can't remember which one. And he said, it's on us to do this more. He was like, even myself, I haven't been given performances like this in a long time. So he came out and said he's been bad. This whole Roy Keane that happened recently, and all the people that still want to criticize no matter what, you can't look at one of the worst teams in United history and you have one player who's stepping up and say, you know what, I'm still going to give him shit for it. You lose all credibility when you do so. Because if I criticize Bruno over the last 6 games, but I also criticize him when he deserves to be criticized, you're going to be like, yeah, you just have a Bruno agenda. No, Bruno's been one of our better players over the last, as I said, the last 6-7 games. I actually didn't think he had a good first half, particularly. I thought he was very wasteful. He's very erratic at times. There was that one stupid free kick where Ruben looked. He was like, there's a meme right now. He was like, what the fuck was that? No, he wasn't actually that good in the first half. But to convert 2 penalties the way that he did, mind you, he sent the goalkeeper the wrong way twice and then came up with a hat-trick. You just have to respect that. He's never going to be my cup of tea. This is not me flip-flopping on Bruno. If you ask me, would you still want Bruno in the future? It will reach a point where I'm like, no, I still want to move on from him. But you just got to give credit where it's due. Because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what football is about. Somebody's just fucking say it. I today, by the way, was good as well. And I tweeted this as a joke. I tweeted that monkey who looks so pissed. That was me looking at this performance because, you know what? Fair enough. You just got to say he's been playing good when he is. So that's all I'm asking for. Consistency.
I'm going to go to you next, Steve, and say this. Look, earlier on in the season, especially in the early stages of Amorim, he started scoring quite a few goals and assists when Ten Hag went. But I had Bruno. Everyone knows I've been a massive advocate of his since he's been at the club. I like him. I moan about the mistakes he makes in the moment because I'm watching the game and I don't want any player making a mistake. But I've always rated him by and large. I got to a point this season where I thought maybe he is going to have to be, like Rashford, one of the casualties to make our rebuild work from a financial standpoint. And also maybe he is someone that is just a bit of a poster boy of the failings of the club as well in the last 4 or 5 years. And it might be better for the squad, for the fan base and everybody for him to go. And I had those conversations. But this is the great thing about what we do in the football content space. Unless you're someone that ignores what you've said, not what Staffy has done, where he's addressed things he said in the past. It's a story, really. And we all go through a journey and a story throughout the course of a season. There might be a period where I was looking at Xerxes earlier on this season, and I look at it now and I have to hold my hands up and say, maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe I was too emotional, where I was saying, listen, if we can get some money for him in January, maybe we should sell him. He's now starting to look like a bit of a player. And I'm encouraging. Equally, I'm not now going to go, absolutely, he's going to be an amazing player, consistent and brilliant. I want to see how that works out as an example. The Bruno situation is, that's the thing with the match reaction. You're giving your thoughts and feelings instantly in that particular moment in time. And I think there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. I ignore the kind of flip-floppery comments you get from people online. That's just pantomime. It isn't serious. If you look at something and say, do you know what? I'm so proud. Like, I look at Xerxes as a great example. I thought his opening 2 or 3 months, the way he got dragged off in the Newcastle game, he was looking awful. I looked at it and just thought, if we could get 30-40 million pound back and then reinvest it, that would be a great way to go. He stayed at the club, though. This is the difference between me and a lot of the amoebas online. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want him to. What Xerxes now doing, I'm happy with. I don't care about my opinion being right more than I do Man United moving forward. And I think back to the Bruno conversation, that's where the problem lies. Everyone who's dunked on Bruno since day one or ever since the Pogba-Bruno debate happened or whatever it may be, they looked at that first 4 or 5 months of this season and it was right. Now's my time to go. Now's my time to shit on him. Now's my time to say I was right all along. And that for me is just not productive in a conversation about football. It may be what you believe, but I don't think you're talking about it for the betterment of the football club. I think you're pushing that narrative so you can show people how brilliant and how clever you are as an example. And you're just throwing up, people do this all the time. They just throw a lot of spaghetti. I'll always open up and say when I've got something wrong. And I'm glad, by the way, Xerxes turning things around, and I'm happy that he's doing it. And I have no agendas. I was happy when Onana looked like he was turning it around. Then we went for another period with bad mistakes. So I'm kind of sticking to my guns on this. I actually think he's had too many periods of bad mistakes where we need to look to improve on him, because I think what we've seen in the 2 years he's been here is he'll have good 6 months, but then he'll go for a 2 or 3 month period where he'll make loads of mistakes. The problem is, if we ever want to become a team that wins the league again, you can't have a goalie that does that, because he'll cost you too many points to get over the line. So it's about just being honest, and you're always going to change your mind about things. A real man, a real woman, a real football person will change their mind. Not every week, but when the facts change, your mind does. And I think for Bruno Fernandes, objectively speaking, the debate is over. To say he's a bad football player, I think is a ridiculous statement. Sorry, Steve, you were going to say something, mate. Sorry.
Guys, I gotta go though.
Same, I gotta go take
Cheers,
care of
Staffy.
that.
Take care. Cheers,
Yeah,
mate. Thank you.
Stuff.
Cheers,
No, I was just gonna what's it called? My buddy Flawless, I was watching him on his channel, and he was talking about this, and he was saying of an example about like GNA kind of covering up performances or playing better. Like he used the example of Van Nistelrooy with Man United. He was a great goal scorer, but you guys played better once you sold him. And I didn't watch Man United during that time, so just on that
quickly, that's true and not true. So in 2006, 2005, 2006, we were evolving our attack. Rooney was getting older. Ronaldo was starting to turn into a bit of a beast, a bit of a monster. And there was a personal relationship issue between Van Nistelrooy and Ronaldo. Ronaldo was very young when his dad died. And there was a fight in the training ground between Ronaldo and Van Nistelrooy. And Van Nistelrooy turned around and said to him about Carlos Queiroz, the assistant manager. He went, "Oh, go and moan to your new dad." Said something along those lines, and it really upset Ronaldo because his dad had just died. That was part of the reason that Sir Alex Ferguson sold him. But from the early days of Van Nistelrooy, the first 4 or 5 years, he was an amazing player for us. So that statement that you've been told is correct as of his final season, not his entire time at the club, if that makes sense. So yeah, we became a much better team the following season when the front when that happened. So there's
who did you replace Van Nistelrooy with? Like the striker you brought in?
We did replace him. Louis Zaha came in, I think, in the in a January. But we didn't when we sold him in the summer of 2006.
Real Madrid, right?
In January. Yeah, he went to Real Madrid. I don't think we bought, because Alan Smith was already at the club.
Berbatov?
No, Berbatov. Well, Berbatov didn't come in until the summer of 2008, so he came in two years later. But he would probably be the replacement. Well, and Carlos Tevez came in. Carlos Tevez came in the summer of 2007. So I think we had Alan Smith. I want to say in the January. We couldn't have been January 2007. We signed Zaha. I think we signed him. I think Louis Zaha might have already been at the club, and we didn't replace him like for like. But then Tevez came in, and then Berbatov came in when Zaha left. I think that's the way around we did it.
Right. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
like I said, Flawless was using that as the example of why he would move on from Bruno despite his brilliant productivity, because he thinks with someone different as a team you could play better. Like the Van Nistelrooy thing. I didn't know because I didn't watch.
And that's listen. And I think a few months ago that was a very fair statement to make, because we were looking like that was becoming an issue for us, or their issue for us. What I would say, do
you care if the replacement's better? I'm assuming you're going to say no.
Well, it depends what you mean by better. If the team becomes better and we win more, score more, then I don't care, because I'm not married to one player over the club.
Yeah.
At the same time, what I would say to Flawless, I love Flawless to bits. What I would say about his claim is the team is now starting to play better massively because of Bruno Fernandes. So what I agree with, if we're playing badly and Bruno's just curling in some screamers to help us get through games, I understand the notion. But
the
I think
Everton game, he was like that, Bruno. He didn't do too much in the 70, but then he scored the free kick.
I would be intrigued to see if we had more speed, more quality, more technicians in and around him in the fullback roles, because they come into midfield, in the 10 roles, in the central midfield in the summer. I'd be intrigued to see what Bruno does when he doesn't have to do as much. I mean, he's great sometimes at tracking back and winning the ball, but I really just want Bruno up the other end of the pitch, out the way, creating and putting that final ball into the box. But at the same time, look at his age. We've got to start planning now for 2 or 3 years ahead for him to go anyway, because of his age. You never know when someone's going to drop off, and he plays a lot of football and he runs a lot. So that dictates that maybe 32, 33, those legs will go slightly. So one of you, I think it was Andrew, was going to say something. Sorry.
And I just want to take it back to, I think, Staffy's point. And like, I think even the comments are going about the penalties not being like real goals, right? Like, I don't know where this narrative came and it like about penalties not being real goals, because if Palmer scored the penalty last time, he would have got his confidence back and he probably will be playing. If Liverpool were good at their penalties, they would probably still be in the Champions League. Like, you can't say that penalties are not real goals. And I don't know why this narrative started. And like, because everything on the football pitch, once you're within the boundary, anything that you do to score a goal should count as an effort, as something that is adding value. It is a contribution.
It does.
Exactly.
It does.
Exactly.
It became a thing when Bruno came in. Suddenly penalties didn't count, but it became a hard thing because Saka scores penalties and then Palmer scored penalties.
I think it was a Ronaldo thing. It started with Ronaldo, Messi.
Yes,
you know, when they started comparing.
It happened with Ronaldo as well, with the Ronaldo thing.
Because
suddenly, the first time in football history, being good at scoring penalties was seen as a negative. Then we started seeing people say, well, if you're good at crossing corners, it shouldn't really be an assist because it's not really a good attribute. No, being good at crossing corners is a fucking brilliant attribute when you consider teams get like 10 to 11 corners on average per game. If you're brilliant at crossing them in, it's just all this really is about. And it's the one thing, it's probably the only thing about football content creating I don't like. And I spoke about it earlier. There's a few things that happen now. You get this kind of, I think it's called, it's got a great name. I was researching this because I was trying to work out, I want to get the name. I was trying to work out if it's got a name because it didn't make sense to me, right? And it's called safe prophecy bragging. So a lot of people, safe prophecy bragging. So what people do is they'll make an easy prediction and flex when it happens. For instance, have you guys seen that new stock that's come out from that new? This is a joke, by the way. Have you seen the new stock that's come out from that new electric car company called Besla? And you go, no, I haven't seen it. Listen, trust me, boys. I'm gonna make this bold prediction now. Trust me. That stock will fluctuate. Of course it will, because all stocks fluctuate. And then when it fluctuates, I go, look how fucking clever it's like saying, I think there are some politicians that might be, I guarantee you there are some politicians that are corrupt. Of course, around the world, there's going to be some that are corrupt. We know this, right?
Yes.
So what people do
but it's the point that you just made, Terry. It's the point that you just made. You said that, like, for me, I think that for most football fans, like true fans, I rather be wrong and my club do well than me look right all the time. So I don't want to keep saying things and
so
okay, I'm making the right prediction.
The safe prophecy bet so they can brag has been born out of a lot of people love giving their football opinions. But when we did it with our friends and our family, it didn't matter if you were wrong. You got a little bit of banter and it went away within 5 minutes. It was gone. Now what's happened is people's egos are in the conversation. I predicted we would win. Now I'm getting shit from everybody online because we didn't win. So what people have kind of do is they give an opinion. They get shit when it's kind of, so say your point is, I think Bruno's crap. And then literally from the day you say it, for 6 months, he's scoring, assisting, winning man of the matches and being brilliant. You're like begging and waiting for the day where he goes for a bad patch, which is normal in football. So you can turn around and go, I was actually right all along. It gets moved away from being about the football and what's objectively right or wrong. And it's about, I need to prove that I was right. And I think that's led to people making the most simple predictions, and when they get it right, they flex like they've said something profound and groundbreaking and amazing. And I actually think football conversations are just better. Whether you're right or wrong is almost irrelevant, because I get loads wrong, I get loads right, but that isn't why the Football Terrace has grown. You look at AFTV, you look at Mark Goldbridge, you look at True Geordie, you look at Rants, you look at Saeed, you look at all these channels that have grown, different sizes, but all of them have grown and done brilliantly. They're right about. Look, I'm a big fan of Rants. I like Rants' stuff. I've literally seen Rants on shows say years back, Jesse Lingard is as important for Man United as Hazard is for Chelsea. I have seen him talk about how Pereira is going to come back to Man United from loan and be a star player. And I'm not digging him out for this. That was an opinion. He got those wrong. I've also seen him be absolutely spot on about Xerxes this season, how brilliant a football player he is. The point I'm making is that everyone's going to get predictions right. Everyone's going to get predictions wrong. That's the fun of talking about football. But if we all just start talking about it in a way where it's like, right, how can I word something so I can always be right? It goes away from the organic nature of talking football. And it's why what we've done as fan content became so popular by and large, because it was long format, honest conversations where it didn't matter if you were wrong or right, outside a bit of banter. Now it's got to a stage where it's like, I need to make sure. And there's a lot of, you've all seen these YouTubers, they word things in ways so they can never be wrong as well. It's like,
that's why I don't like this pussy in the tree analogy. The pussy in the tree analogy, I just never liked it. Like, you know, the whole point about, like, you know, being watchful from the tree. That's why I was making fun of him in the when Liverpool lost and making fun of the leopard. The thing is, Terry, like your team, my team are currently not doing well. Like I mean, okay, we won the games, but we're currently not doing well. But if I go turn on the TV and if I'm like, okay, we're going to play Arsenal, but Chelsea's going to lose, that's why I'm not going to watch it like that. I'm going to turn on the TV and I'm going to believe that, okay, my guys are going to show up today. They're going to come and they're going to do their best. And
of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
There's no fun.
And
otherwise, there's no fun.
And the difference is this, right? Hassan the other day, like, he got cooked because he disregarded PSG as being any threat.
I saw your reel. It was too good. I saw your reel.
Some people go, what, you saying you can't predict your team to win? I went, I'm a bit like, I'm not even blaming Hassan for this. He's allowed to do that. It's like, no, you've got to understand the difference. Arsenal fans right now saying we can beat Madrid is different from an Arsenal fan saying we will smoke them. We're going to beat them. They're not a threat. If you're suddenly merging those two comments into meaning the same thing, you're just a fucking liar. And when it comes to having honest football conversations, it makes it really tiresome, really hard, and really difficult when everybody, and I don't even blame the audiences, because there's just a lot of content creators that do this now. There'll be an Arsenal fan in the next 3 weeks, it'll be on a show that will say, no, I think we've got a chance of winning. And you'll get loads of people on the show and in the comments going, oh, you saying Madrid are crap? No, nobody said that. And it's just tiring and jarring at this point. And, you know, we spoke about Bruno and Xerxes tonight, and we'll all get things right. We'll all get things wrong. We'll all change our minds because the facts change. As an example, there'll be some Man United fans in the next few months, if we keep getting better, will say, oh, I remember when I didn't think this system would work. I'm changing my mind. And that's fair. You're allowed to change your mind. I just feel it's becoming a bit crazy. But boys, I
have one more question for all of you. I have one more question just for all of you regarding the penalties. I just want to know that when somebody wins the penalty, for example, like get fouled and they win the penalty, do you think that that should be an assist? Like that should go as an assist? Because we're still talking about penalties. Because they're winning the penalty and somebody else is taking it. Sometimes they don't get to take it. Like Kylian Mbappe yesterday.
What do you think, Elijah? Do you think it should be an assist?
Well, I don't think so, because, you know, I mean, you can give credit for allowing you know, that player to win you the penalty, but I don't think that's really assist if it counts as a penalty, if you know what I mean. So that's just me.
Let's just create a new
guys.
My solution is create a new stat. PW. Penalties won.
Yeah, you can do that. I wouldn't be against it. Like, I wouldn't cry about it. My only request would be you would now have to go back for the entire history of the game since they started counting assists and attribute those assists to everybody else, because it would skew. For instance, you might, I wonder, I don't know how many you won, but I imagine that Thierry Henry and Wayne Rooney and Ryan Giggs I imagine
Hazard.
they won Hazard. I imagine they won. I mean, Giggs over 20 years. I'm just going to guess that he probably won 30 or 40 penalties. I mean, that would be
Any
you know,
guys who dribble in the box for sure. Like
he must have won loads. So that would be my only request is if they brought it in, is you have to then go back and reattribute those assists to everybody else from the past. Otherwise, you might have if someone breaks Thierry Henry's record and gets 25 assists because he's had 6 penalty wins that season. It's like, hang on, that's not fair because what was Henry's penalty wins that season? But I'm not for or against it. But I like what you said there. To be honest with you, Steve, it's penalties one because most of the time when you win a penalty, what I will say, when you win a penalty, it's often you think about. I mean, it wasn't a penalty, but it was the Rasmus penalty. That was a penalty because the ball from Cass, the run from Rasmus, and the square ball created a clear goal scoring opportunity. So that penalty was given that way. The penalty Sociedad got, whether it's soft or not, it was a great bit of play. The ball's coming into the 6-yard box. And if the lit doesn't touch his leg, he might score. So you deserve a penalty based on the fact that most of the time you're either about to set up a goal or you're about to score. There are some though where you might be on the edge of the box and someone clips your leg and you fall over. I don't know about them, but
it's also complicated when it's a handball. Like if it's a handball,
I agree. I agree. Maybe if it's a penalty that's also considered denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. Maybe then, if it gets that category, but then it starts getting really complicated, doesn't it? Crazy to think that Obi and Heaven. Listen, we haven't even mentioned this. I thought Heaven tonight for under £1 million just looks. I know it's very early days. I don't want to get carried away, but he just looked like he very, very comfortable. So thank you, Arsenal, for developing him. Appreciate it.
This is why sometimes people ask for, rightly or wrongly, when a team is playing really, really bad, to get a senior player the hell out of there and give a kid a chance. That's what it is.
I agree.
You could uncover a decent player that you could use for the next 10 years. It could be a squad player, could be a superstar, or it could be someone that you sell to Cheltenham Town for £1 million. You're benefiting in some way.
You're right. Them European nights in the new state. Listen, the crowd was amazing tonight. The atmosphere, the pyrotechnics. Can you imagine that with an extra 25,000 people in a stadium that's going to be built to keep all the acoustics in as well? It would be amazing. And listen, I know a lot of people don't like the new Man United design, but the angles I've seen of what it's going to look like at night with the walkway, bright red, the three big pillars that are going to look like the trident. Like it's going to be amazing. And I hope it gets done, and I hope it's done well because I know a lot of people, some United fans are against it. They don't like it. But look, I guarantee there were some older United fans who didn't like this current Old Trafford when it was being built in the 90s. So, it is what it is. But I like it, Ronnie, personally. Look, gents, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank our super chatters. I want to thank everyone that's tuned in. We were going to speak Tottenham, but no Tottenham fans turned up. So we'll do that on the Top 6 show tomorrow evening. Big thank you to each and every single one of you. Congratulations to Rangers, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Man United that all went through tonight. And, of course, your team, Stephen, in Lazio as well. Congratulations to them. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.